This is the Scary Movie Clubcast.
Live from the clubhouse, it's Scary Movie Clubcast. This is Mackenzie,
Nadine,
Megan,
Dahmer,
and Amanda.
and tonight we watched Creep 2.
What?
Creep 2, yes!
will you
Keep the
stop
creep coming.
staring at me?
That was from Megan, directed to Dahmer.
Yeah. Creep to Creep. Alright, Amanda's gonna give us a short summary of Creep 2.
So, with Creep 2, we come back to Joseph, and he's doing his thing. He's creeping.
Yeah, if that is his real
Uh-huh.
name.
Now
Yeah.
calling himself Aaron.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's taken on the name of the greatest person that's ever lived.
Yes.
We also meet Sarah, who's videographer,
Mm.
who is working on her YouTube show called Encounters, where she just goes and she meets up with and spends time with just like different people, and like they all kind of have like weird quirks about them. She's about to give up because it's not going well. We feel you, Sarah.
Yeah.
But she comes across this one Craigslist ad to meet up with someone, make $1,000, and just like spend time with them and like film a video with them. And it's our boy Joseph, aka Aaron. And so she goes out, same as Aaron did, goes out to this cabin, filming herself the entire time, and meets Joseph, Aaron, and has to decide, am I going to continue this interview? Because he admits to being a very prolific serial killer
Yeah.
and who's in a bit of a slump.
I mean, on one hand, he whips his dick out within the first 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and on the other hand, he whips his dick out in
Yeah.
the first 10 minutes. I love that.
So
It's
where?
good.
So where does she fall? It's just a lot more of the silly Joseph we've come to know and love. So Nadine's gonna give us some fun facts about Creep 2.
Which they vary, because Creep 2 is another indie one where there are not very many fun facts to be found. So some of my fun facts are just about Mark Duplass in general, which is Peachfuzz, and just random sort of things. The first thing that I wanted to say is that even the trailer for this is so good. Like, I watched the trailer while I was doing all this stuff, and I was like, man, like, if I had never seen any of the Creep stuff and I just saw this trailer, I would be like, I want to see this movie. Super random. Mark Duplass's favorite food is blended anchovies on pizza.
What?
What?
It's disgusting.
Yeah,
No.
gross.
Oh, it was funny, because, like, he was basically doing, like, this random food interview, and then he was talking about how he lets his daughter sometimes eat Rice Krispie treats for breakfast, and I thought that was hilarious.
That's cute.
That's a straight up dad move.
Yeah, it is.
At least she's eating something.
Exactly. He and his brothers were on the Mindy Project together, for anyone who doesn't know. Who, like, has seen the Mindy
Hey.
Project?
Don't know what
Have
the
you seen
Mindy
it?
Project is.
It's like
I
a
have seen
TV
it.
show.
Okay, there's
It's
the
very funny.
Deloriers.
The
Dang,
midwives
man.
that she hates.
The midwives. I don't know. If whatever. People that are out there listening
I
that have
know.
seen the Mindy Project will react to that.
I know. I love it. Because she almost hooks up with Mark's character, right?
Yeah, they do hook up. I think.
Yeah, I just remember them being in his bedroom or bed or something.
Oh yeah,
And it
they
being
hook
awkward.
up. Yeah, it is.
'Cause he says
awkward.
wild
It's
things.
Very funny. Oh yeah, he's like, she's like trying to do something, and he's like, "You gotta go slow to go fast" or something. It's so awkward. But just picture Peachfuzz like literally about to like have sex. It feels very awkward. It was so good though.
The dream.
Okay.
Stop.
No.
Stop.
Which, man, as I was watching it, I was like, this is what I imagine Conan being like if he turned into a murderer.
Yeah.
Like, wanting someone to follow him around and film it. And,
Yeah.
Oh man, and he would be even funnier though because he's so gangly.
and being such a good little interviewer, too. It would be crazy. And he jokes all the time about becoming a killer. Awkward, but hilarious.
He do his weird voice that he does when he's like the 1920s voice.
Yeah, oh my gosh, you guys. I watched this one movie review for this where the chick was asking for someone to send her a Peachfuzz mask, but she couldn't even remember the name Peachfuzz.
Get out.
You don't deserve.
She doesn't.
I was insulted.
No.
Send us her mask.
Out of here.
If you got it for her, send it to us instead.
Yeah.
Exactly. Plus, she was also like super nervous that she was pronouncing Duplass wrong, and I was like, it's not even a hard name.
It's
like,
not that serious.
I
spoken
feel
the
her.
way it's spelled. Like,
It's alright, Amanda. We forgive you.
oh man! And then there's this other review I watched where it was these two guys talking, and they had watched the movie like 2 weeks ago. I was
Why
like,
would they wait so long?
I was like,
Because
people
they're men.
suck. I was like,
True.
you try so hard, no matter how inconvenient it is. Even when we've already seen the movie. We still rewatch it before we do the review.
Gotta be fresh.
Oh, when they were talking, they in their podcast were talking about when he's like, "Oh, we gotta take off all our clothing because it will remove the tension between the sexes," and they were like, "That makes total sense. Only men would ever think
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
A
no.
woman wouldn't ever think that."
Yeah, no.
If anything, that brought more tension.
It really
know.
brought
It
the
would make me
sexual
feel
tension.
more in danger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's like, oh, so we getting kind of sexy now. Like, this is interesting.
And now I'm stressed.
The girl who plays Sarah, Desiree Akavan, she is actually a filmmaker, not an actress.
Huh.
They like
Oh.
specifically wanted someone who was like a filmmaker.
That's
to
pretty
be in that
cool.
role. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Oh, so how Patrick and Mark met. Patrick was Aaron in the first movie, and Mark, of course, is Peachfuzz. They met because Patrick's girlfriend was Mark's nanny.
Whoa.
Isn't that random?
How old would, like,
There's an age difference between Patrick and Mark. Patrick was like done with film school, like in that
Patrick and
range.
Aaron?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mark, was
Well.
grown. The original one, they shot it in 6 days as like a dark comedy. Basically like two weirdos find each other. But then once they like showed it to people and people were like, no, we really like this thriller aspect, and they like went back to try to do that, it took like they filmed for a year and a half.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy? From 6 days to a year and a half. The patchy beard was an accident from Mark Duplass trimming his
Of
beard,
course.
and so they just created an explanation for
I
the
love
character.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh, I watched this one interview, that's where I got some of these little bits and pieces, like about Patrick's girlfriend being Mark's nanny and stuff. And in the interview, they were like sitting there and they were just talking about how they're good friends. That night, they were gonna go to Mark's house and watch The Bachelorette. And I thought that was hilarious.
Cute.
This was shot from beginning to end, which is always interesting to know.
Mhm.
Oh, the car in the first creep was Patrick's grandmother's car.
Aww.
And then my last little fun fact is a quote from Mark Duplass himself, and he was talking about the scene where he's naked, and he was like, someone asked me if that was a prosthetic, and I was like, nope, that's the way God made me.
Wow. I actually was wondering that. I also kind of
Yeah.
got the feeling that he probably would just be nude.
Yeah.
he's
Like,
crap.
he
He's
doesn't
not
really-
the kind of needs a
Man.
prosthetic or a body double or something because
No.
he's shy.
I love
Right.
those tan lines.
The tan lines made it, for sure. Thank you, Nadine, for the fun facts.
No problem.
We'll talk about our favorite parts. Megan, would you like to start?
I think one of my favorite parts was when Peachfuzz, he tries to scare Sarah for the first time. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna get her. This is how I do. And he jumps out, and she's like, oh, cool. And he's like, what? And he's so disappointed. He was like, what do you mean? And then he scares her a second time. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get her this time. And nothing. And
He
he's like,
doesn't.
"Ah, you really don't scare her easy. I just love that. Because I love how disappointed. He was like a child. He's like, oh, but this was my game. And you were supposed to be scared. Everyone's always scared. So I thought that was good. I really liked
I like that. Dahmer.
My favorite part is when he has that whole like, you need to take off all your clothes to remove the barriers, and he's trying to make her uncomfortable, but then she's like, okay, cool, now it's my turn, and you can see how immediately uncomfortable he is. He's like,
Yeah.
whoa, and the fact that when she starts taking off all her clothes, he just zooms in on her face so he won't actually have to look at her body.
Well, it's mostly, too, because he cares more about her reaction. Like, that's
Yeah.
really what he cares about, is like, oh, this girl's, like, not scared. Like,
Well,
it
I
blows
just got
his
the
mind.
impression that he was just so uncomfortable with
Oh,
it
yeah.
that he was just like,
Amanda.
I think my favorite part is when we get to see Peachfuzz again.
Yeah.
There's
the
like-
nostalgia.
Yeah, and
Love
he's just
it.
like wearing that while driving, which seems unsafe.
Very
I don't feel like
unsafe.
he has a great field of vision, but still love it.
What if I told you I was a naughty one?
That would make me uncomfortable. I think my favorite part was like when he goes to scare her in the shower and she scares him,
Yeah.
and then
I
after
love
that they
that.
like start playing that hide and seek game, because to me it shows they're like even, sort of like she's also a freak. I know
Mhm.
there's a part of her that's doing it just because she's into being like, oh, I'll do weird things. That doesn't matter because of all of the stuff we see her do for encounters, like all
mothering a grown man.
That grown man,
Or
like,
even worse, just sitting in the pool with that guy where they were just staring at
just
each other.
making eye contact.
Literally
So-
awkward.
Yeah, and so she's clearly a freak. Like, she's into weird stuff too. Nadine, what's your favorite part?
I think probably my favorite part is when he is all salty in the hot tub and she comes down
Yeah.
and just climbs in with all of her clothing,
And
including her boots, yeah, and just starts giving him such a weird neck rub.
Weird neck rub.
I love it. I love that you can feel the awkwardness.
It's
from
so,
I love
afar.
so uncomfortable.
And I love how quickly he gets into the neck.
Yes!
And how red his neck gets. So red.
It's so true.
I felt like when she was like, I need to go take a shower, was because she was like, I feel gross now. Like,
Yikes. It was so good. Alright, we'll talk about our least favorite parts. Megan?
So I would say my least favorite part was when he decides to hang himself. I just really, I mean, I understand why he put it into the movie, because he was just trying to, like, you know, show just, like, how crazy Peachfuzz is, but I just didn't personally care for, like, seeing him try to hang himself. That, I mean, I just,
Fair.
That's fair.
I
Dom,
don't like
oh.
having to be forced to watch that
Yeah,
part.
it's distressing.
It is.
Yeah. Dahmer.
kind of similar, where it becomes clear that there's like a weird plan for like suicide, but like she has to help and she starts freaking out about it. Kind of like when she's out in the woods and he like starts stabbing himself, and the look, like she has that moment of and I don't, you know, again connecting with the characters, like it's distressing for me as well.
I mean, I feel like it's a really real reaction.
Yeah.
Like if someone all of a sudden just started stabbing themselves repeatedly, you just be like,
you kind of
what
just
is
freeze.
happening?
Yeah. Amanda.
Maybe the mothering scene. It's not even, Peachfuzz isn't even in it.
Maybe that's
Joseph
why it's
isn't
your
even in
least
it.
favorite scene.
Yeah, but it's just like, so weird. That's a fetish I don't understand.
Yeah. Not your fetish,
It makes me
personally.
uncomfortable.
Nadine.
Okay, I can only think of two, like, teeny tiny baby things, which is, one of them is when she, like, into the camera is like, oh, I know that the decent thing for me to do would be to give him his space right now, but it'd be so easy for me to go down there and, like, provoke him. And then it shows her walking down the steps, and I'm like, this is just shaky cam for shaky cam's sake. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need to see her walk down the steps. Like,
Yeah.
because you're literally just showing me the steps, and it's making me nauseous a little.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing would be, in the very beginning, I love the opening scene. Oh my gosh, I love such a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But though I wish that I understood just a little bit more about the relationship that he had cultivated with that guy.
I
because
agree
I'm
with
like,
that.
Have you guys kissed before? Because he's acting a little weird when you touch him.
But it seems
then
kind of
he
like a
almost like he's like, no, but don't shut off the relationship. I wish I knew just a pinch a little more.
It seems like they had a romantic relationship, but clearly he was not okay with him touching him.
Maybe
but
it's
it
a
seemed
weird
romantic.
drunken night, and then the night before or
Maybe?
something, and he's like, ugh.
I just wish I knew.
I do wish I knew. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the plot quality and pacing and things.
10 out of 10.
It'd be
I
flawless,
agree.
basically.
I think I think that's something he's so good with. Like, even Creep, the original Creep, it was the same. You
And
know?
especially like for a sequel. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
Yeah,
It's
I
true.
felt like it was different enough that it didn't just feel like, oh, you're just like banking on your previous idea. Like,
Mhm.
I agree. I felt like it felt original. It was like, okay, I can understand. He's been killing for such a long time that of course he's gonna hit a slump like that, especially with someone with such an eccentric personality as he has, where it's like it starts to get repetitive and he doesn't like feel that same like joy in killing
You
that
lose
he
the
once
magic.
had. He wants that magic back.
The
So
murder
it's like
man.
it's believable believable progress for his character to have made in this movie, where it's like, okay, I could see him getting here at this point in his life, and so I appreciated that, where it's not like, yeah, just like a remake of the first movie.
Yeah, no, a very classic midlife crisis.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought of a least favorite part. I thought it was kind of crazy that he was able to do so much when he was stabbed at the
Yes.
end of
Oh,
the movie.
yes.
That was like a lot. Like, and her. Like, they were very stabbed. And, like, I guess it could have been lighter, but I think there's good organs there.
yeah,
know what I
gut
mean?
wounds are no good.
I also wonder how much at a certain point his adrenaline might have kicked
Yes,
in.
that's true.
Like when
Because he was
she
definitely,
runs away.
when the first time she ran, he couldn't keep up and he was sort of falling, and then the second time she ran, suddenly he was
He
better
not
at running
only
than
could
Well, he
her.
set the camera down.
but
That
he was
makes a
also
difference.
able to attack her and drag her
And
back.
drag her.
Yeah,
That's
the
the part
dragging part is
that
But then
was
had
the
issues
least
climbing out.
believable to me, was him dragging her.
Because you need to use those abdominal muscles. That
Yes.
must be the worst.
It
And
wasn't-
She had run pretty far away,
And
so he would
yeah,
have
and I
dragged her
guess
for
she
quite a
could've come
while.
back. And then she got out of there too. And it wasn't enough to take me away from the movie to where I was like, oh, unbelievable, pfft, whatever. But it was also like, what? Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Wait, you're doing a lot. Like, and she like could climb out. And she was like holding her abdomen, but it's still like you just. I guess adrenaline is a good
Yeah.
point.
Such a good moment though, because
Such-
it's like you definitely believe like, oh man, he just beat her.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you see her come out, it's like, yeah.
You're just like so pumped. Just like hit him.
Yeah, and I just love the ending where you're just like, you just see her like from far away, like walk around in New York City, and like you know it's him watching
Yeah.
her and filming her, and then she sees him on the subway and it's like, oh no.
Mhm. Also, can we just talk about with this locket? Why are men always trying to re-gift some jewelry from previous relationships?
Wait though, wasn't that engraved? He engraved that locket
Yeah,
to
but
give
it
to
had their
Aaron,
pictures.
and it had
Yeah,
their
I'm fine.
pictures.
When he was like, sorry, it's a picture of me and some
Yeah,
other
that
guy
was
in
gonna
there.
be my funny thing.
Okay,
too.
well first we'll talk about scares. Dahmer, you can start.
I don't know, there's definitely like a lot of like jump scares in there. It wasn't my first time watching it, but even still, I'm like,
Yeah.
I sorry, no one can see my little movement. I did a little jump.
Amanda.
I don't know. I've like seen it. This is like my third time seeing it, so it's really hard.
It is. I can't 100% remember how much it scared me or not the first time I watched it, but I do think that the part where she does her jump scare in the
Yeah.
shower is kind of like that would get me.
Yeah.
I feel like the jump scares were good, like, of the times that he, like, scared her, like, he would just be jumping on her, which you kind of knew was part of his personality from watching Creep 1, that, like, he did that to Aaron a lot, like, where he
So
would just
good.
jump out,
Mhm.
and so you kind of, it's like you're expecting it in, like, an unsuspecting way, but I also think there were just scary moments of, like, them in the woods was, like, really freaky, like, it was weird, and the found footage aspect of it was like, and I think for me too, because I hadn't seen it before, and he said, like, we're both gonna, like, die and be in this grave and someone will find the tapes. I didn't think, like, okay, they're both gonna survive it. It was like, one of them is gonna die, maybe they'll both die, because maybe the thing is someone found this camera in the woods, found these bodies in a grave, like, or found one by these trees, so I was like, I was scared for them, like, I don't know if they're both gonna make it through this.
Just the idea that like she's going through you're watching this movie, you know he is a killer,
Yeah.
and she's going through it like he's not really a killer, even though she shows the video of him killing the real Aaron, fully admits to being a serial killer, and is like, I'm being honest, like, this is who I am.
Mm.
And she just, like, gets so far and thinking that he is, like, a liar, and he's just weird. And it's like, I don't think it's until he, actually stabs himself where she's like, oh. And at the time he stabs himself, she's already seen the grave.
Yeah.
And, like, but it's not until then where she's like, oh, this is the real deal.
Yeah, true.
I found it kind of interesting. To me, I think that everything started turning in a different direction the moment he really started lying directly to her face. Not to say he might have definitely twisted a lot of other things in those weird stories he was telling in the hot tub, but as a viewer of it being a second movie, that when he's like, you're right, I'm not a murderer, it's fine, like, all this stuff, I felt like, oh, he just got more dangerous.
Yeah.
And things are about to turn into a direction that's going to traumatize her.
Well, and when he started lying, it kind of reverted back to the eccentricities that we see in the first movie that was missing from his character because he was having that midlife crisis at the beginning of the movie where it was like, he's really feeling down about himself and he couldn't find that joy anymore, but he found it with Sarah. And the moment he found it with Sarah, because that's when he started lying and kind of acting like that crazy version of himself
Mhm.
that we saw in the first movie.
Mhm. Yeah. All right, let's talk about some of the parts that made us laugh about Creep 2. Megan, do you want to start?
Oh, I really liked when they went out to the river.
Ah, that's what I was gonna say.
They went out to. He was so mad that the river wasn't flowing, and like he was so upset about that. And then they kept doing take after take where he says the same like one sentence.
It was
line.
the summer of '78 or whatever.
With his arms.
It's the ocean. She's like, "What are the arms for?" And he's like, "Well, if it was the river, this would be like the current
You're
over
gonna
me."
put the
He's not
posts,
used to
the effects and
collaborating.
posts.
No.
But he gets so upset because like every time he tries to start this sentence, something happens where the birds start chirping, or his hair.
I want
is
you
out
to
of
do
place.
To me, I feel like I want to believe that the bird was not planned, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
was just genuinely Mark Duplass
It
being
wasn't
like,
planned.
I'm going to kill this bird. Like, I am going to kill this bird. I'm literally trying to film this movie, and I'm out of character now because I just want this bird to die. Like,
Out of
you need to
character,
stop.
I
But it
am
was
the
so
character.
in character.
But
We feel that.
Like,
but-
his
yeah.
laugh was like, are you kidding me? Like,
But and then I loved that, after getting so frustrated, he runs away just to lay down, face down,
Face
in the dirt, kind of doing this weird growling noise until she finds it. Like, he runs off and she stays at the river for like a hot minute
Yes.
before she's like, oh, he's
I
not
guess I'll
coming
go
back.
get
Now
him."
I have to go and find him. And that's how she finds
of
him.
all ways to find
So
someone.
good.
They're laying face down in the dirt going, oh, Dahmer.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we mentioned it a little bit earlier. I love that he gave him Aaron's locket. Was like, I mean, it's just me and this other dude in here, so
Yeah.
placeholder. Just my previous lover.
No kidding. An engraved locket. And sorry, there's a picture of me and another man in there. Amanda, do you have a funny moment that you want to talk about?
They were both stolen from me.
I know, those were
Well,
like,
Megan
those
said
are
like
mine
4.
too.
I
And
know.
she
I
did-
was
she
gonna do
did
the
that
face down
every
in the
funny
dirt. Well,
moment.
first I was gonna do the locket one, and then I was gonna do the face down in the dirt.
I was gonna do the bird.
I know, I was too. Megan
Sorry.
opened the door for all of like the highlight moments because the whole movie's funny.
She did
but
the summarizing again.
I love too like,
Oh, I got it.
Okay,
I got
Amanda.
it.
She's like, no one speak.
hey everyone, shut up! It's
Shut up!
Someone immediately say what Amanda's thinking.
Okay, my favorite moment was
No, it's in the very beginning when he comes to that first guy's house, and the guy's like,
oh, I think I know
the
what
guy
you mean.
takes out the he's got like the camera on him, and it's got the fur around it, and so it's like the stuffed animal.
Yeah,
the
it's another
mannequin.
re-gift.
Yes. I love it when like the guy leaves to go get them beers, and he like is like, oh hey,
Yeah.
to the camera.
That was so good.
And he like kisses it. So
I love it.
so
I love
good.
Mark Duplass so much.
He's such a gem. There were so many times where I was just watching it and I was like, he is such a good actor. Like
he literally
I'm
is.
like I felt that way during the Two Truths and a Lie or whatever part where I was just
Such a
sitting
great
there.
one.
I know, when I was just sitting there like he's so good. Like he's such a good actor. Like I'm so invested in this character.
It's
that was
number
also
2.
very funny.
It's
Yes.
number 2.
He just
It's
said
number
it so
2.
quick.
I know.
And she's like, what? And he's like, it's number 2. Like, oh my gosh. The nudity scene, that one was hilarious. Just because you're like,
I mean,
you're sitting there and you're like, he's not gonna. Like, there's literally no. And then he just rips that towel off and you're like, that's his penis.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
that is unapologetically his dick, like, out. And they held that
Too
camera
bad.
there forever. Not too bad.
No.
No.
I do
Like,
think,
Wow.
It's just
Wow.
not.
Yes.
It's
I
just
just-
not.
I do think that like that.
I mean, I thought it was okay.
Oh, man. That's our soundbite.
It's just not.
I just think that non-sexual nudity is like always funny.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's what Paul Rudd says. I've heard him say that in interviews, and I always think it's funny. He's like, nudity is funny all the time. Because he has this prank that he'll do when he goes into a public restroom, where he'll go in and he'll pull his pants all the way to his ankles and pee at the
Oh.
urinal like a child.
Oh my god.
Amanda's
Amanda-
dying silently.
It's
Yeah,
going
he's
to cry
so
laughing.
perfect.
Nadine?
What am I thinking of again?
If you have any laughs.
Laughs.
we mentioned like the whole
I know we
movie,
mentioned
but-
a lot.
I honestly, I find it very funny in the opening scene when he, like, you see the knife and so you start to get tense for the guy, and then he just immediately slits his throat.
Yeah,
I
he really
find that
does.
funny because I'm like, ooh, buckle up. It has begun.
It's so true. He like rests his arm on that guy's head as he's like gurgling out, and he's just like rests his arm. He's like, "What am I doing with myself?" And you're like, "There's like blood splatter all over this wall." Like it's so funny. You're like,
That guy
"Here we
died
are."
so fast too.
Well, he was slit. His throat was slit.
Well, I know,
Compared
but
to
you
now.
glug for a little bit.
Well,
He did for a
he
little
did
bit.
for a little bit, and I think that like him going downwards probably a lot more. Like it would have been
Speed out,
faster,
Helped
you
out
know.
gravity.
Yeah, gravity was like, "I got you, friend."
I gotcha.
All right, so we're gonna rate it. All right, Megan, you can rate it first.
Okay, I want to start with an asterisk next to mine, which is that I was unnecessarily harsh for those listeners who have listened to our Creep 1 review. It had nothing to do, the review that I gave the first movie had nothing to do with the movie and everything to do with the state of mind I was in when I watched the movie.
She's
That's
like,
my asterisk.
disclaimer.
Yes.
We coddled the crap out of her for this one, and we're like,
Gotta
"Are you
make
good?"
sure that I was at peak readiness.
We were actually-
for this
We
movie.
gave her a foot massage as we watched.
Creepy neck massage in a
Yeah.
hot tub.
Yeah, that's what we
We
did.
were like, "You're ready."
That's what we did.
I'm gonna go take a quick shower. We'll watch it.
So, that being said, I thought that this movie was just as good as the first movie, and I am giving it a 5 out of 5.
Yay! Dahmer.
I give it a solid 4 out of 5 Peachfuzz masks.
4? You're crazy.
Can we kick her out of club?
Sorry. I don't
Insult.
know.
What would you give Creep 1?
Probably same.
You're ridiculous.
I don't know. It's one of the. I only give it that rating. I thought it's a great movie, but like I rate movies also based on how willing I'd be to watch it again soon. You
So
know,
wouldn't you be willing to watch this again soon?
like next week. No, I'd be like,
Can I just say, pause? Tigers are not afraid. She gave a 5.5. So you're telling me you're gonna watch
You're ready
that
to watch
next
that
week?
next week?
yeah, I'd watch it. I'd be.
That
jealous.
needs
Okay.
5 years for me.
But she didn't-
watch it next week.
She,
I know.
guys, she didn't cry during that movie. So I
Still,
don't-
I don't
No,
cry either.
I don't
I'm
know.
watch it next
I don't
week.
understand why this rating, a 4 is still a high rating.
No, you've insulted the entire industry of horror.
I feel like I gave The Conjuring a 4 too.
That says it all.
I had an excuse with our first review, okay? You have no excuse, man.
Amanda, what do you rate it?
So I'm gonna give it 4.5 Peachfuzz max out of 5, just because I just
Because
don't
if-
like it more than the first one.
Yeah,
Because if you gave it a
Do
4,
you like
they'd
it
mock
equal
you
or do you
for
like
it.
it less?
it's true.
I like it a little bit less, to be honest.
Is that only because you already know that he's like a murderer?
No, I don't know. I just like
You're
everything
just
about the first one
attracted
better.
to Patrick Bars.
I really am.
It's true.
We nailed it.
I
He's still behind the camera, man.
Yeah,
Still
but I don't get to
directing.
see him.
I would give it a 5 out of 5, but I also would I would agree with the man that I like Creep 1 more than Creep 2. I just feel like it was sort of a groundbreaking, like, what is this? Like, whereas Creep 2, it's not that I felt like it was predictable at all, because I think it is a good, like, as a sequel, because some sequels are just such a mess of, like, they're trying to recreate the same essence of Creep 1, and I thought it was hilarious that he's, like, going through this midlife crisis, but he's a serial
That's a great
killer.
idea.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, that people, like, office workers have midlife crises. Serial killers don't. And, like, I thought Sarah was a great character. Like, she wasn't, like, a weak character of, like, oh, gosh, I can't stand her. But I just feel like Creep 1 is so, you're just, like, wait, what is this? Like, we're gonna keep like, I thought it was over. Oh, no, he's stalking him. Like, what is this? But I did love Creep 2 as well. Nadine, what do you rate it?
I definitely would give it a 5 out of 5. I don't think that they could have done anything better with the sequel than exactly what they did. And, like, judging based on those parameters, I just think it was literally perfect. Like, there were twists and turns that, like, you wouldn't have seen coming, and it's just so good. So funny, so fresh. And you know what I really liked about Sarah's character is that I feel like she was like a very believable weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say she was like,
What a hard balance to find.
yeah, it was like everything about her, like her freaking business that she does, where she's like doing a web series where she meets weird people on Craigslist. It's like, but she's also weird because it's like, why are you meeting weird people on Craigslist?
You
Like,
just now realized you're wearing her necklace.
I know,
Yeah, I noticed that when we were watching.
Mackenzie is wearing the necklace that Sarah
I
wears.
also have colored
Classic-
hair, and
Classic
Sarah
90s
has
choker.
colored
Yeah.
hair. So.
I know. As I was watching Sarah wear it, I was like, man, I should get mine out of my toy box.
Yeah, I love wearing these.
Great. Can I defend myself some more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can't. Oh, well, okay. If everyone's gonna keep attacking me,
I'm not
just
attacking
the
you.
last movie we watched got such a high rating. It was so moving. This isn't moving to be. This is. I mean, it's just. It's a great movie.
Very moving love story, like Romeo and Juliet.
Oh my god.
Better than any poem that's been quilled on paper, on parchment.
Oh my gosh, that part was
That
so
was so fun.
where he's
It's
like,
all so funny.
creep is like, it's like a indie inside joke, it feels like, which I think is what it needs to be, and that's what I like
I
it.
guess. I don't personally feel like it feels like an indie inside joke. Also, I think that you could watch this without having seen the first one.
I do
and
think
still
that you could
totally
do that.
enjoy it. Like there were
Mhm.
certain
Yes.
there would be certain things that you wouldn't get, but you would still be like,
I agree.
that was a great movie.
I agree.
Alright guys, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Movie Clubcast and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And we will see you next movie night. And don't forget, there are 47 days till Halloween. Bye!
He's like, I really got you.
Really? He's like, I don't got no thumbs.
I would open it if I had thumbs.
Hey, I know!
So cute.
Can you get your butt out then?
Oh sure.
Oh no! We almost had another cat
She
now!
almost fell. That time it was very real. She almost took the pillow down with her.
So
We would have
cute.
had Pepper meowing, Shira meowing. We need Smokey in here.
You're talking about.
Can you not?
Start
My
from
favorite thing about
Craigslist.
Amanda is how
Amanda.
calm she stays throughout the whole recording.
I just want to get it done.
I would say. Oh goodness.
You should have let her fall.
She's like not even pressed.
I am her guardian angel.
Oh my god! I just saw a cat like.
Oh, I thought she was about to do it again.
She's just so round. She can't help it. It's just too roly-poly.
Look at her. Okay. I can hear her breathing.
I know, I can
Thank you.
breathe.
I'm so
I hear her
glad. I
sometimes.
talk about this all the time.
You really
Yeah,
do.
that
And I
was
feel
me
like we've been
gesturing
kind
at
of
her.
gaslighting you on her breathing. And
Yeah, that was me gesturing at her. I'm like, she
She's
is
not
so
dark
loud.
like
she
children
is
eye.
loud, yes.
Like, up until the end, she like, still doesn't believe it.
Sorry, Shira has almost fallen off the chair 3 times, and now she officially fell.
She's just roly-poly.
Acting like
Cat.
nothing happened.
That's how cats do when they're caught being
now she's gonna
ungraceful.
be
They're like,
digging
"What?
in
No."
that.
She's like, I just want to drink a water. Everything's fine.
This is how I wanted to get down.
It's on our logo.
Okay, Shira, you're about to make a lot of noise, babe. I just know
Bam.
you are. Shira, Shira!
That is how the Shira do.
That is how cats do.
Shira!
They're like,
You're
Cats
such
love
a
keyboard.
menace.
So
What?
much.
I love to
They
go
do.
exactly where you don't want.
Charlie
Uh.
loved to lay on my laptop and then proceed to drool on my laptop. I'm like,
oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Did you have a nice fall?
See ya,
She's like, I
see ya
didn't
next
fall. I
trip.
know what
Have a
you're
nice
talking
fall.
about.
She's
She's
like,
like,
that
I
was
just
that
got
was a
down.
leap of grace.
Literally, let us just do the outro, Pepper.
He's not gonna let us do the outro. He's gonna scratch in the middle of you speaking. 'Cause that's how the peppy do.
Oh, Pepper. Pepper!
That's how the cat do.
God bless it. I'm glad I didn't stop the recording.
Second time in one episode that a cat has climbed over Mackenzie.
Gosh.